Romantic, dramatic, and on the edge. Welcome to Surface, Retro Glam Updo Collection. My name is Dawn McKee. Hollywood knots. With Shelby's hair today, we prepped her hair with Bliss smoothing cream as well as Jump Mousse at the base of the hair so that we can create beautiful volume. We're going to begin her updo by working with Surface Push Powder. Being able to use a network of fibers to be able to create great volume as well as being able to have a great place for my pins to sit. We'll just work the powder by tapping and pushing the powder right into the base of the hair, right all the way throughout. The next thing we need to do is we need to begin our part lines. So with our surface clips, we're going to go ahead and start working with a right side part. We're working with a nice dramatic part line here. We're going to go ahead right here on our left side. We're going to take the parting right from the high point of the head, and we're going to sweep it right down just behind the right ear. We're going to go ahead and clip the hair right out of the way, and then we'll come right on the other side and we'll do the same thing. So we're going to get a clip here and we'll go right from the high point of the head just to behind the ear. And we'll go ahead and clip that section out of the way as well. Now to begin in the back section, we're going to be working with the right corner ridge as well as the left corner rear ridge here. We're going to be making an X. So we're going to actually create 4 sections. We'll come right at the right side corner and we'll take it right down to the left side of the corner in the nape. Then we're going to go ahead and come in with our left rear ridge and come in right here and create our first section. We'll go ahead and clip that right out of the way. And we'll be taking another section that will be right at the bottom corner. So coming right in here, right down to the corner of the nape area, and clipping that section away as well. It's important to go ahead and divide the head properly so that I have a good placement for my twist. I'll go ahead now and I'll come from that center point, come right down to the right nape corner, and we'll clip this section out of the way as well. We have one last section right here on the bottom, and we'll go ahead and clip that in as well. Now my first section that I'm going to be working with will be on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and switch right here for ease. I'm going to come right, take that section down, and I'm going to be working with my shaping wax. Shaping wax is going to be a key product here because the molding flexibility of the guar gum is really going to help me to mold and shape the hair the way I need to. Just a small amount on my fingers. We'll go ahead and melt that shaping wax right into my hands. The Bassu oil allows me to be able to do that easily. We're going to go ahead and work that right through the entire section. We'll begin with our comb here, combing the hair nice and smooth so that I get a nice seamless technique. To make our first slip knot, we're going to actually begin by taking the hair right across the top of my hand, bringing the hair right around to the top, and using my index finger to begin pulling the hair just like I would a slip knot. So now the hair becomes nice and tight right at the base and begins to hang right here at the bottom. The remaining tail can then wind right around the base so that we don't see that, and the loop will hang nice and loose. We're going to go ahead and work with a bobby pin, working with one small pin right here at the base of the knot and coming right here in the bottom. That loop will hang loose for the time being. When we come back to finish the entire look, we'll secure it in place. Now my next slip knot is going to be right next to it. We're going to go ahead and work with our shaping wax. Just a small amount on my hand allows me to be able to work easily with my slip knot. We'll work that right through the hair section, working with my TK2 comb, combing that nice and smooth. And then coming in and creating our second slip knot, which will be sitting right next to the previous slip knot. The hair lays right over my hand, comes up and around. My index finger is what pulls the hair through. And now that I have my loop, I can go ahead and take the tail and wrap it right behind, place it right next to the last slip knot. I have to work with my bobby pin here, coming right behind the base and pinning right behind. Now my next section will be the third section right next to it. This section is going to actually be pulled just gently over. Again, we're going to work with our shaping wax, just that small amount. Being able to work that right into my hands and distributing it right through the section. Then take my TK2 comb and we're going to lay that hair nice and smooth. That knot comes right around the top. Index finger comes through, pulls the slip knot, and the tail winds right around the base. And now that begins to create our layering process. We'll take our bobby pin and pin right at the base. And then we have our last and final section in the back. Now before I start, we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to make two sections with this last piece. We're going to come right at that rear ridge again and slice directly in half. We'll go ahead and clip that out of the way. And the hair will come directly over and fall right into this open space. And then we go to our last and final section. Now this section will actually come and slide just over and fill in this spot in between those two slip knots. So a small amount of shaping wax on my hands, working that right through the entire section, combing the hair nice and smooth. And the shaping wax really allows me to get a nice, clean, smooth section to work with. Creates great control, as well as makes it much easier to place that in its position. So now we hang that right over my top of my hand, wrap right around that top, index finger pulls that section right through. And the tail wraps around and lays and fills in the spot directly in the middle. Pin right behind the base, securing the slip knot in place. Now as we move forward, we'll be taking those slip knots and we'll actually be moving them around a bit. We're going to go ahead and work on our front right section here. So we're going to begin building our front fringe. We're going to go ahead and begin by taking a small slice here and separating that section in half. This front section, now this lower section, will become one final slip knot. Working that shaping wax right through the section, combing it nice and smooth. And we're going to bring that hair section right all the way to the back. We'll create one last slip knot. So right over the top, index finger comes through, tail wraps around, and it sits right in that final spot. Pin right behind with one pin. And before I go to that last section, I'm going to go ahead and give it one mist of my theory to help set that in place. Now the next section that we're going to be working on is that top section in the front. So I want to make sure that our push powder is good to go. So I'm going to go ahead with just a little bit more of a tap, tap, and push right at the base here. So we get a nice amount of lift. We're going to go ahead and work with our TK2 comb. We're going to go ahead and give a nice light back combing just at the base for support. Just a little bit right at that base. And then allowing that hair to start shaping in the direction we want it to go. We're going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of our shaping wax. Now this is going to help start making some nice flat waves or a finger wave type pattern. The guar gum really allows the hair to remain flexible. We're going to still keep that nice lift in the hair. I'm going to go ahead and work with my TK2 comb very gently over the top. And then go ahead and make sure that I have nice distribution throughout. I'm going to lay the hair right over the top of my hand here. And as I start to make those waves, I want to go ahead and use my two fingers just to start bending the hair into place. And you can see how nicely the shaping wax really allows me to have great control over that wave. I'm going to use one bobby pin here. We're going to lay the pin just nice and flat, and it's going to go right into the center here to help support that section. We'll go ahead and take our TK2 comb, and now we're going to go ahead and start shaping that hair into a nice wave. So as you can see now, as I start to shape that section, the shaping wax is just moving for me. We'll go ahead and take our bobby pin here. We're going to make sure we always are working with the grain of the hair, so I'm always pushing the pin in the direction that the hair is moving. Take one more pin here, and again, the pin is moving in the same direction the hair is moving. The tail gets tucked nice and tight, and we move on to our last and final section on the left. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the left side here. We're going to work with a slice on the bottom. We'll clip that top section out of the way. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we have our push powder in place. And then we're going to be able to work with our TK2 comb to give it a light amount of back combing just at the base. This is going to help give it some nice support, as well as we're going to be working with our shaping wax. Small amount on my fingers. Being able to work that right through that section. Going ahead and working just real gently, nice and smooth. Combing the shaping wax right through the hair strand. And as I go ahead and start taking that hair and building my waves, we'll go ahead and take one bobby pin here. Remember, we're going with the grain of the hair, same direction the hair is moving. We'll go ahead and with that pin, one more here. And we'll continue our ribbon and tuck those ends right underneath. For our final section, we're going to begin with our push powder to make sure again that we have that nice Velcro fibers working right within that base. It's going to make my back combing go a lot faster, as well as give us great hold at the base and help me to start structuring how the height of my fringe. We're going to go ahead and work with our TK2 comb, working just at that base, just to create a nice amount of back combing. Now when I begin in the part side, I want to make sure that this is where I'm going to build my height. So as I start working closer down the section, I want to make sure that I'm not using that back combing as high. So get higher and then build downward. We'll take our shaping wax, again, small amount on my hands. We'll be working it right through the final section. With my TK2 comb, I'm going to come real gently right over the top. And I can use the part tooth of my comb to start giving me that lift, so I know how high I want that to be. I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the hair and lay it right over my hand, combing this shaping wax right through so it's nice and smooth. And now I want to make sure I carry my hand right about where I want that wave to start turning. So we'll go ahead and take my first wave, and here I'm going to be working with my theory firm as well. Get a really nice hold. Making sure that I have enough lift right here at the base. And I'll go ahead and start pinning. For our final detail, we're going to go ahead and pick up our theory firm. We want to make sure that we start separating these twists and going ahead and placing them in the right position. So I'll go ahead with my theory firm and give each one a nice mist and give it just a little bit of a spread, allowing the lychee mushroom fibers to be able to set in nice and tight, giving that a nice finish and just giving that a nice little spread. We're going to go ahead and give it a final mist with our theory firm. And we're going to finish with our Bassu shine spray. Just a light puff over the top to add tremendous shine to the hair, as well as very lightweight. And here we have Hollywood knots.